Hi there, and welcome to this bonus episode of the Gazette's Hockey Inside Out show. I'm Stu Cannon of the Gazette, and I'm joined by former Canadiens defenseman and assistant coach and 1986 Stanley Cup champion Rick Green, and Brendan Kelly, my Gazette colleague, who's filling in this week for Chris Nyland. Rick, the Canadiens reached the midway point of the season, battling for first place in the Atlantic Division, and also in the top 10 in the overall NHL standings. Where would they be if they didn't have Lane Hutson, though, Rick?
Every game I watch this kid, and I love to focus in on him to see the type of things that he's doing. And he just keeps getting better. And he just is so involved in every part of the game, whether it's offensively or defensively. And, everybody talked about his inability to defend because of his size, but he is tenacious and determined on the defensive side that he's not going to get beat. And he's just an exceptional player. And at a guy at that age to make that transition so quickly and become a point a game player and do what he does each and every night, it's mind-boggling. And he's making that whole blue line do some incredible things, and he's making it happen, and he's a real deal. Moving forward, he's just gonna keep piling up the points and finding ways to help the team win.
Yeah, defensively, I remember asking Rob Ramage at Hudson's first development camp, how's this guy going to play defense in the NHL? And he said, well, we're going to find out, but I'll tell you one thing, he's like a dog on a bone on the puck when he's playing defense, and he's just relentless. And I think that's what we've seen. I mean, Brendan, where would the Canadiens be without him, and what's impressed you most about him?
Oh, I mean, it's unbelievable, this story. I mean, Kent Hughes said it at the press conference Tuesday. I mean, they knew they had something good with Lane Hutson, but they didn't know how good it was and how quickly it would happen. Well, he won the Calder Trophy, and then it was like, well, will there be a sophomore slump? Well, no. He's got 42 points in 42 games. I mean, honestly, step back a bit. Is he not the most exciting player the Habs have got since Guy Lafleur? I mean, in terms of someone who's come out, drafted by the team, and you're right, defensively, that was what people said, he wouldn't be good. Man, this guy goes after everyone. He doesn't care how big they are, and the moves he makes. I mean, this is when I talk to fans, which I do for my column, people are just, it is such a pleasure to see this guy, and he's twirling. I mean, the overtime goal in Dallas, just unbelievable. I mean, and he's got 7 goals. He's already got 1 more goal than he got last season, which was kind of the one potential knock on him, was he wasn't scoring a lot of goals. So, and this is only halfway through the season. I mean, honestly, it is a thing of beauty to watch this guy twirling, and he does things. I mean, he's a tiny guy. And look, the attitude, I love this guy's attitude. There he is out on a rink outdoor rink in NDG on Christmas Day with his buddy Ivan Demidov playing with the kids. I thought the line of the year, someone said online, they said he's finally playing with players his own size. But he just loves hockey, right? There was the interview where they said, well, what do you do for fun? And he's like, I play hockey. That's all he does, right? And it's infectious. And you can see the group loves this guy. Go back to when he got the big contract and Marty had him do that skate by himself. And then the team just, the congratulations they got, I mean, showed the kind of group the Canadiens are, but also the love they have for this guy. And yeah, would they be where they are without Lane Hutson? No, he's the guy's unbelievable.
It's sort of funny. I know when they got off the plane, first road trip after Christmas, and Hutson was carrying his skates because he'd obviously taken his skates home for the Christmas break because he knew he was going to go to the outdoor rink, and then brought them back, which was really funny to see. I remember at the draft, Rick, I think he was like 140 pounds when they drafted him. And I remember he came out to do the interview, and he had his Canadian sweater on that was falling off his shoulders like he had borrowed his father's sweater or something, and saying to myself, how is this kid going to play in the NHL? There's no way this kid can play in the NHL. But then I know the Canadiens, those behind-the-scenes videos they do from their draft meetings, and they had one of the scouts before that draft saying every team in the NHL, every good team in the NHL, every contender in the NHL now has a defenseman like Lane Hutson, that puck-moving, offensive style of defenseman. I mean, Rick, back in your days, I mean, I don't think Lane Hutson could have played at his size, but just like from someone who's coached defenseman, and what impresses you most about just the way he's able to play defense and succeed in the NHL despite his lack of size?
Well, I was one of the ones that would have agreed to the fact that he's so small. I thought that he would really struggle defensively. And if you watch the way he plays, because he's so intelligent and very, very effective with his stick, he anticipates well. He's he's very smart in his positioning, so that he's very seldom does he get on the wrong side of the play. They have to go by him or through him to get to the net, and that's instinct. That's something that's not taught, and he has it, and he's very, very effective. And I kept worrying about, oh, somebody's going to take a run at him and hurt him, and he's just so elusive. He finds a way to get in and out, and not make himself vulnerable to getting big hits. And I hope that will continue, because as we know, on the second half and going into the playoffs, it becomes a different game on the physicality, and that'll be a real test to see how a lot of these guys will hold up. But right now, they've shown that they're able to play any kind of game and be effective at it, and that's a positive.
Well, we saw Tom Wilson sort of targeting Hutson in the playoffs last year against Washington. Back in your day, Rick, I think Bobby Clark would have broken his ankle by now. The game's changed, thankfully, allowing guys like Hutson to play. But, Brandon, one of the things I liked about Ken Hughes' news conference, he said, one of his sons played with Lane Hutson. So he's seen Lane Hutson play since he was a little kid. And as Hughes said, and he said, I thought he could be good. I never thought he could be good as quick as he has been. But Hughes also gave credit to his scouts. Like he said, his scouts had to sell him also on drafting Lane Hutson. And I think that speaks volumes about just this organization and how they're willing. He hasn't surrounded himself with yes men, and they listen to what everybody has to say and then make their final decisions.
It's an excellent point, Stu. I mean, think about it. 62nd overall, second round. So in other words, 61 picks before that. I don't know offhand where he would be, but he's definitely top 3 or 4 in that draft. So that was an absolute steal. Obviously, people were turned off. The people were turned off by his size. So you really have to hand it to Hughes, but also the entire drafting staff. And when you think about it, was the biggest change from this regime to previous regimes is the drafting has been so consistently great. It's not all great, but in general, and that's how you construct a great team in this era and probably in any era. But, it's like you got to do it from the draft, and that wasn't happening in the previous regime. And for them to get Hutson, but you know what? You never know, right? I mean, it is a crapshoot, and how many players? I mean, look at Jonathan Drouin, picked 3rd overall, and he's been a decent player, but he's not, at all. He was just right there, up there with Nathan McKinnon, and so you just never know when you pick someone, and you pick someone that size, you've got to worry about it. But as you say, we're in a different era, as Rick was mentioning. It wasn't his era as a defenseman, and it's an era where smaller players can thrive, and you could just never have particularly a defenseman of that size. But you know what? I mean, the biggest thing we thought was he'd be a defensive liability, and that is, I mean, he makes mistakes. Of course he does, like any young player, like any player, frankly. But boy, you know what? You think about it. Yeah, he's not going to be laying the big hits, obviously, but at the same time, his puck moving ability, his skating ability, he gets the puck out of the zone. Well, if you get the puck out of the zone, they're not scoring on your net. It's as simple as that. How many times have you seen him taking up the puck, and he does that thing where he stops, and the players are from the other team like, what's he doing? What's he doing? Is he passing it back if it's on the power play? And then if he thinks they're going to pass it back, then he continues up or he twirls around, and you get the puck out of the zone. I mean, it's a bit like, when we said Markov was a great defenseman, it's because he was great with that breakout pass, right? If you get the puck out of your zone, that's your job done as a defenseman, right, Rick?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with Marty St. Louis too, Rick, because he allowed Lane Hutson to play his game when he came in here and make mistakes, same as he did when he took over and he let Cole Caulfield play his game after Cole Caulfield couldn't score with Dominic Ducharme as a head coach. Rick, you coached the defense for a long time. It must be what a treat it must be to coach this kid.
Well, you know in advance what kind of game you're going to get from these individuals. You know that he's going to be going and he's going to be taking chances. So whether it be a defenseman or a forward, be aware and be responsible to cover for him, because he's going to bring something. So you cover because he's going to take a chance, and a large percentage of the time he's getting the results by him jumping in offensively and contributing to a real threat on the rush or anything that he does. And two things that go hand in hand. You talk about draft picks. Skill, you need skill, obviously, to succeed, but skill and character go hand in hand. If you're fortunate enough to find those two ingredients that blend well together, like the Canadiens have done through their drafting, it's a win-win situation, and we're really starting to see the benefits of these type of things that these type of players that they're bringing in, and what they're going to bring to the team and the future.
Yeah, and that compete level that he has is so impressive. Anyway, that's it for this Hockey Inside Out Show bonus episode. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll have a couple of more bonus episodes coming up over the next few days, so you can look for those. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the Hockey Inside Out YouTube channel. And in case you didn't know already, Hockey Inside Out is now available also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, so you can find us there.